One of my goals for this channel is to try some new crafts. So I recently have acquired some flower making kits. I've got felt flowers, I've got pipe cleaner flowers, a couple different styles. So we're gonna try them out and see how they work. Christina here from Christina Makes Things, and I have some new craft kits. These were acquired in my Temu Craft haul. They were the flower craft kit. And I promised you guys I would do a video on whether or not they were worth it or not. The funny thing is, a lot of these craft kits could probably be made just using some felt and some items that you have around your house. So you might be inspired to do your own flower bouquet. So let's try out these craft kits and see if I can make them look pretty good. We are starting off with this package that looks like it was just pulled through the mud. This is how the package arrived, kind of in disarray. I still had hope for it, so we're gonna try and pull this together and make it look somewhat like the picture. So inside I found all of the felt pieces. These felt pieces were kind of a little bit rough, not exactly soft felt, but I had all kinds of different pieces. This kit did come with everything that I needed to complete the project with the exception of a glue gun, but they did give me a glue stick and all the little pieces to go ahead and assemble these flowers. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do a kit, is because I didn't want to go get all of the individual pieces. I wanted it all put together. So starting off first by cutting apart all of the leaves for the flowers, there was one little tiny thread that held them together, so I had to go through and individually cut each one of those, which did take some time, but it wasn't a horrible task to complete. Here are the flowers. They came stacked on one another, but you would end up taking each one and just kind of overlapping it so they kind of fit together and went every other one. Then it was time to glue with hot glue on the backing. You're just gonna have to excuse my head popping into the shot every now and then because I couldn't help it. So you'll see my head every once in a while. So I'm hot gluing my flowers onto the green part, and then on the top I'm gonna add one of the little pom-pom balls. They were yellow and that would be my center of the flower. As I did this, the hot glue did go through the hole on the other side, so I was able to take the stem and insert it right in there as the hot glue was drying. This worked really, really well. Then I just had to do this with all of the other flowers. But I do have to say I was pretty impressed with how they turned out. They were really, really cute. So I continued on creating these flowers until they were all complete. Next up, I had to add all of the leaves. The instructions made it feel like the leaves were to go down further on the stem, but I kind of played around with it, put some up really close to the flower petals. Some of them I added 2, some of them I added 1. Some of them I put the leaves down on the stems. I tried to vary it a little bit so that when I put it in the flower pot, they would be all mixed and varied. Next up was creating the flower base. I wasn't quite sure how this was supposed to turn out, so I just started by cutting all of the pieces separately and looking at the picture and the instructions that were just horrible. So this is the side of the flower pot, and they provided me these really long pieces to weave in between. What I think is really cool about this is that you could really use like a Cricut cutter machine or something very similar and DIY these pieces yourself. So if you want to completely do it from scratch, this is something very, very simple that you can do with a cutting machine. Here is the side of my flower pot, all woven, and then it gave me the instructions to sew the ends together. It gave me thread and a needle, but I'm not gonna do that. That just seemed like too much work and effort. And it also wanted you to sew on the bottom, which I guess would be a really good way to do it, but first of all, that thread was tangled and I just didn't want to take the time. And I thought hot gluing it would probably be just as easy, so we're gonna hot glue it and just work with it that way. And I rolled the white styrofoam that also came with the kit and wrapped the woven piece all the way around it, and when I was done I ended up hot gluing the ends. Was this the best way to do it? I don't know, but I think it worked pretty well. It might have been a little bit tricky when the glue kind of hardens, but all in all I think it is a very reasonable and logical way to complete this project in a timely manner. And then I hot glued the bottom on to make sure that the bottom, although you won't see that, of the vase was also covered with the brown felt. What do you guys think? That works, right? Then the favorite part, adding in all of the flowers. This is where I was kind of wanting the flowers to be different lengths so I can create kind of like a rounded effect to the bouquet. So I tried cutting them. I probably should have had wire cutters because I was using scissors and that didn't work. So I gave up on that pretty quick and just kept them all at the same length. Or I kind of wish the styrofoam maybe had another piece on the inside so I can get a higher effect for the center flowers. Those would probably be some things that I would have changed, but ultimately I think it turned out really, really cute and full in how it looks. So very happy with it. Then I had to add the ribbon around the flower base. This one was a little bit tricky, but I just ended up doing a bow bow and hot gluing it in a few spaces just to make sure that it stayed on. I would definitely give this project a 9 out of 10. There were some parts I didn't like, but overall the end effect looks really cute, and this would be a really fun project for a family or even just a really quick holiday project to complete. So 9 out of 10 on this one. Next up, we have this stand-up flower bouquet. This one has different flowers inside than the first one, but it has some of the same components. It's also wrapped in some floral paper that you would get at a flower shop. Same thing with those green leaves and all the flower pieces. They were all still attached, so I had to go through and individually cut out all of them. And I wasn't quite sure, even though the instructions were better on this one, what went with what just yet. This one also did come with the glue stick and everything you need except a glue gun, so I was set to start the project. This one also came with a ribbon to tie around, a little sticker that goes on the flower wrapping, some little pearls to go in the center of flowers, and some tape this time. Here's a little greeting card you can add to your bouquet, and then as you can see, the instructions were a little bit more detailed, which was exciting for this project. Now, I've seen these flowers made before using paper, and this time it's felt, so it was a lot of rolling. I had to adhere the glue onto this stem and roll the flower, and I was actually surprised at how well this turned out as I went along. It looked like a little flower bud by the time I was finished. It was a little bit hard to make sure I kept everything even, but with a little work I was able to manage, and then the very end I glued on to itself with the hot glue gun. The instructions call to add a little pearl on the very top of the flower, which I think added a really elegant touch versus the pom-pom on the previous flower bouquet. But as I was doing this, the flower totally unwound, and I realized I needed to glue in between as I was rolling the flower. So I had to go back and do that, re-roll, add some glue here and there, and that really seemed to make it work. This one turned out really cute, and in this kit it included 3 of these types of flowers. And then the final touches were adding on the leaves. This kit actually came with a couple of different sizes, and the same thing as before, gluing them on in different places on the flower. Some were up high, some I put low on the stem. Now on to using this. I had no idea that this was to be a part of a flower, so the instructions called for it to be folded in half and then to roll that half along the floral stem. This one was a little bit more difficult to do because the felt was so stiff, but once I got it done, I glued it down, and that helped a lot. Glued it onto the stem and continued to roll. This looked so cute as the center of a flower. I thought it was a very clever way, and then I was going to add the other part next. Very similar to the flowers in the previous kit, rolling and adding some glue in between to make sure it didn't fall apart. Next up was a different type of flower using these yellow patterns. This said to just slide it onto the stem, glue it, and then scrunch it up. However, I don't really think it looked that great once I got working with it. I think it's supposed to be a carnation. I added on another piece and continued to put a little glue here and there and scrunch it up. I don't know what you guys think. Do you think it worked? Do you think I could have been done better? Am I missing something here? The instructions really did not tell me what to do. I added the leaves onto these, and I ended up with one light yellow and one darker yellow. Then there was this really pretty lilac color, the same type of the center of the other carnation, but this time it was to be glued down along the side of the flower stem to make a lilac. This one I think looked pretty cool, and I would definitely like to do more of these. I think if I had a couple more to put in this flower arrangement, that would have been really cute. Just the way the felt popped out as you trolled it around the stem looked so nice and realistic. This was probably one of my favorite flowers, and I would probably use this pattern again, especially if I made paper. The last part of this kit was to make the floral leaf stems. So these were to go in between as filler to fill up other gaps in your bouquet. That part was pretty easy, but the part that wasn't easy was arranging this paper around the floral bouquet to make it look realistic. I am not a floral arranger. I'm not a florist. I have no idea what I'm doing here. So I tried my best to arrange this. Arranging the flowers themselves was pretty easy, but with the paper, it was just many fails and many clips of video footage that just did not work. I did not know what to do here. If you have any recommendations on how I can go back and revisit this to make it look better, greatly appreciate it. But if you look at the bouquet itself, very, very happy with that, and I think it looks adorable. This might even be a really good thing to give for our teachers when we give a teacher a flower day, because it's just a really cute thing that looks like a kid probably made it and it would last longer than some real flowers. So here's my finished finished product, I went ahead and added the sticker on it, and you can also add in the gift card. Really cute, right? With the different variety of flowers. Now my last kit is not using felt. This is using chenille stems. Now what was really cool about this kit is the booklet that came with it had so many different instructions on different types of flowers. So I was just going by the picture that I found on Temu, and I liked this one the best and the colors the best. But the booklet had so many other ideas that you can try, but I was going to stick with the main ones that I had selected, which are the irises. And this kit came with a lot of supplies. So look at all the chenille stems I have, the green and the off-white. I got some stems, another little gift card, everything that you would need to make the flowers, including the glue sticks, and then the instructions. So these were so simple to make. In fact, I think you can make these without having the kit very easily. It just asked for me to cut these stems apart and then prepare some of the other pipe cleaners that are longer. You're going to need four for the stems of this flower. Instructions said to take a longer white piece and combine it with the shorter white ones, twist and secure with another pipe cleaner at the bottom. So twist it right here, and then I'm going to turn it on top of one another. I'm going to secure it by wrapping one of the stems around and then gently forming a petal. So I need several petals for these flowers, so I just want you to repeat this process over and over again. Then this project became really mindful and meditative, similar to other crafts that I say are very relaxing. Just sitting here feeling the chenille stems and making the flower petals was just very relaxing. Then after those were done, we went ahead and worked on the leaves of the flower by doing the same technique, just with longer pieces. Finally, you adhere them all to your flower stem, just twisting and using the floral tape to wrap around. Now the floral tape I thought was a nice touch because it actually looked like it was a real flower with the floral tape on it. Just add one stem at a time, wrapping it around. Add in your leaves really close to the flower. Also add in all of the center pieces to the flower, and then once you're done, it looks like a real lily. Here I made a couple of them to go all together, and I thought this would be fun to try in a really nice vase. In fact, when I did this, I put them all together, a whole bunch of them, and had a family member think that they were real flowers from far away. Since the booklet had some instructions on making other flowers, I thought I might try some tulips using these same materials, and the tulips surprisingly included a lot of the same methods for the other flowers. So it was just bending the flowers instead of down. So once again, using some cut pieces and a longer pieces, intertwining them, twisting them to secure, wrapping one around itself, and forming the petals. You're going to need several petals for this one. I thought it might be cute to have a double layer of petals for tulips. I've seen some really great YouTube videos on people who use inside petals and outside petals that are larger, and those looked really, really nice. But for my practice and my first time use, I'm just going with the 4 petals. Working it around and doing the exact same thing as I did for the previous flowers, using the leaves just a little bit lower this time, and using that floral tape to wrap along the stem. And there we have it, a whole selection of tulips. I wouldn't say that this is my favorite out of the bunch. Definitely like the other ones better, but they did turn out pretty decent. And you could probably even combine these together in a flower arrangement and they would look really pretty together. I'm going to add links on the screen where I can to go directly to Temu. If I can't find the exact one, I'm definitely going to put a similar one or a similar kit, so that way you can explore the options that they have. Let me know what you think about these. Definitely want to hear your opinions, if you thought it was worth it or not, if they turned out pretty good, or if they were just a total fail. And I will see you in the next video.